Peace, y'all. It's Sister Alexis, and today is a great day, as every day is when you are allowed to wake up. I have been having a lot of questions. All the time I get questions, and sometimes I'm not able to answer every single message. So I find it easier to just do a video these days because I do feel like it is my duty to answer if I have the answer to these questions. Not to say that I know it all, but I do have a vast amount of experience. And so this is what it is. So today's video is mostly, and you'll see me looking at my laptop, is mostly about why I became vegan and a lot of questions that I've been getting surrounded about plant-based diets. So why did I become vegan is one of the main questions that people ask me. And what happened to me was when I was 8 years old, I used to be a snoopy little sister, and I would go into my brother's drawers and I found some books. The first book that I found was Destruction of America, and then How to Eat to Live by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. My brother was a 5%er at the time. It still is. And I was attracted to the cover, so I started to read it. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad talked about not consuming certain meats. That one would be beef, birds, pork, lamb. He considered those not fit for consumption. And so I was like, And then my brother would always tell me, Lex, don't eat pork, don't eat beef. And being a little sister looking up to their brother, I wanted to appease him. So I stopped eating beef and pork. And we never were really privy to lamb. And although chicken would be considered a bird at the time, I just was prepared, I guess, more so to stop the beef and pork than anything else. And later in life, the other meats came into play, and I was able to eliminate those. Beef was considered a very coarse meat, and that was hard to digest. It's one of the meats that stays into the system longer than any other meat. And in addition to that, we know that meat has parasites, and parasites travel through the meat. And so for me, I was just like, okay, we're gonna make sure that stops. And I didn't really have a taste from a very young age. I didn't really have a taste for meat. My mother would cook like steak, and she'd make rice and vegetables, and I just found myself eating rice and vegetables. And one day she said, you don't like eating this? And I was just like, no, not really. And so she never really forced me. And then she began to buy veggie burgers and supported the process. And the second reason why I released all meats from my diet was when I was 16, I found out that I have cysts on my ovaries. And at 16, you're thinking, what the heck? I didn't know what was happening to me. I went to the doctor and I went to the gynecologist, and then I found out that I had cysts on my ovaries. And I said to my doctor, he is Korean, and at the time, and I said, hey, how could this happen to me? And the first thing he said to me was, do you eat chicken? And I thought to myself, are you kidding me? I'm Black. Some stereotypes are true. And I said, yes, I eat chicken. And he said, well, the chickens are shot up with hormones so they can get to the grocery store quicker. And the hormones become your body and create growths within your body. You never know what the growths turn out to be, what kind of havoc happens within the body. And so for some people, it will manifest as cysts, ovarian cysts. So that's, or cysts or fibroids. So that's basically what happened to me. And from there, I was like, okay, so I was 16, and I was thinking further ahead, like, I eventually want to have children. I don't want my children to eat meat. So that definitely started the process. Did I stop completely at that time? No, I didn't, because of the one being 16 and not fully mature of all the decisions in life. I just didn't. But I began the process of, at that time, I only was consuming poultry. And so that was fine. And then once I got pregnant 3 years later, then I was like, okay, this has to happen. And I wanted a vegan pregnancy and I wanted a vegan baby. So I did what I had to do, become plant based. And throughout the years, I never went back to meat, but I did have bouts with dairy and eggs. And I didn't beat myself up about it either. I just made adjustments. So you have to constantly make adjustments, and sometimes some people never go back. I mean, I know people who at 20 years they weren't eating meat of any kind and went back hardcore. So you never really know what's going to happen, and don't beat yourself up during this process. Just make sure you do the best you can, and just consider, when I eat now, and even then, I thought to myself, will this harm me or will this hurt me? You just have to be very clear about what you're doing when you are doing it. And so how did I start? So I kind of mentioned a little bit about it. My mother supported me in that process, and she would buy me veggie burgers. That was pretty much all she could do. And I would eat grains and vegetables. And so, yeah, eliminating the pork and the beef, and then educating myself on the alternate names and byproducts of meat, because there's a lot of things that we don't know at the time when we first start, and then you begin this process and you're like, oh my gosh, mono and diglycerides can be derived from animals. BHT is derived from animals. Animal shortening, isinglass. And I know for like a lot of Rastas, they like isinglass in their moss, and that is derived from animal. Lactic acid, sometimes people say, oh, I'm lactose intolerant, so I just drink lactate milk, and I'm like, still dairy. Lecithin can be derived from animal sources, so make sure if you get lecithin, if you do soy, I'm not suggesting you do soy lecithin, or sunflower lecithin. Pepsin sometimes, even natural flavoring can be disguised as animal-based product, and you don't even know. Another reason why is what I did was, as I mentioned before, I started to only eat poultry back then. Start off with the poultry, and then eventually you get tired of that and you don't want to do that anymore either. And the other reason, as I started off and began to delve into this process, you get into the animal activist side. You see the way animals are treated. You know that animals are our friends. You know that animals send messages. In a lot of countries, they say that, or even in this country, they say that if you really want to know what's going on in your surroundings, check in with the animals. There was a story that I saw at one point during Hurricane Katrina, and the person being interviewed stated that they knew something bad was going to happen because the animals started to act differently. And he couldn't explain it at the time, nor was he really even in tune with it, but he knew something wasn't right. About, I don't know, maybe 4 years now, maybe 3 to 4 years ago, I released leather. I released all animal-based products for my wardrobe, and I was finally able to get rid of my leather seats in my car. And that was a process. I'm going to tell you right now, someone who I was raised to always look nice. And sometimes we equate looking nice to either wearing high-end clothes that are leather, suede, the sneakers, pocketbooks. All of that was really, I can't say it was really difficult, because when I was ready, I was ready. I was someone who had a very large wardrobe, a very large collection of sneakers. and boots, and I had to let it go. I had to let it go. And I think it was harder for my children to see all of those things either being sold or given away to other people, and they weren't fully understanding why I was letting those things go. Now they get it. And I even stopped killing insects. You know, you used to like kill a bee or kill not a roach, but I didn't have, but yes, it at one point, you know, it didn't matter. You know, I don't have roaches, but you know what I'm saying. It didn't matter. And that's one of the things. That's really how you know that you're being tested. If you are in contact with a roach and you even kill that roach, that's how you know you have grown. But flies, spiders, ants, when you get to the point where you just stop killing everything because you know that that is a life, and pardon me, that is a life, and why should their life be any less than a pig or a bird or a turkey? It's not. It's not. And then I even stopped housing pets. So to get fish was out of the question. I just think of like Finding Dora. Do you remember how that process was of the going out to this tropical area to basically take these fish from their natural habitat? And that's what happens to the animals now. Like the calves don't even get a chance to drink milk from their mother. The chicks never see their parents. It's just a ongoing process that I consider very similar to slavery. And I know sometimes people will say, you're going overboard. But it's not. It's not any different. They're being held hostage. They're being raped. They're being taken away from their family. Their identity is being stolen from them. They're being injected with chemicals. How is that different? It's a big similarity to what many cultures go through now. How is it different? It's not. It's not different. It's not different. I know people want to consider it to be different, but it's not, and I don't consider it to be different. So just being able to have more compassion for animals and what they go through was really important, and that's what made me stay plant-based and not entertain even eating any flesh. How did you change your taste buds, and where did you begin? It first starts in the mind, really. It really starts in the mind. Retraining yourself, unlearning things that you were taught, learning how to eat a more wholesome diet or live it, learning that all the things that we were taught as a child may not be suitable for us as adults. So you have to be really clear about where your belief systems came from. Who told you you had to eat meat? Who told you that that was your only source of protein? Who told you, who made you believe that killing animals is different, killing a pig is different from killing a dog? Who told you that? When at any point did you begin to believe that was true? So really understanding what you've been taught, and then ask yourself, is it true from there? Once you have figured that out, you can pretty much go on from there. Knowing that animals have spirits, animals are little humans. And being able to see the messages that animals give to us, kind of like Dr. Dolittle. You think that was like just a what do you call a PG-13 movie? You don't think there was any truth to that? People may say, "Oh, that's crazy." Animals, they don't talk in that sense, but they do. They speak. So that's something to really think about. And I literally had to put myself in the hooves of a cow. You know? If you've ever watched any of those documentaries, you'll definitely understand where I'm coming from. I felt for them. And again, I equated it to slavery, like how that must have felt for my ancestors. And not being able to drink your own mother's milk. And I went to Queen Afua in Brooklyn. I went to the Healing Center in Brooklyn. I spent some time with her. I really delved into her book, Sacred Woman, the Conscious Kitchen, and really started to understand why it wasn't good for me. Sometimes people say, well, my ancestors were raised on that. Well, as we know, the soil is different. Even the animals are different. These are hybrid animals at this point. Like a chicken, a turkey, they're hybrids, you know, so they are man-made animals. And I know that sounds weird. You're like, what do you mean? Like, take the time to research a little further. If it sounds like you just can't believe it, just research it. Just because you don't believe it doesn't mean it's not true, doesn't mean it did not happen. So take the time to research it and find out more information like I did. And so I started to go to the sister, and Mama Queen Afua has been a big piece of my enlightenment. And reading the information that she has in these books, finding the truth in it, spending time with other sisters who can relate, that is part of the journey. Also, going to get a series of colonics from her and from the center, and watching all that bile come out of you, watching in the therapist saying like, you don't chew enough. Like, that's part of the process of breaking down the minerals is by chewing. So if we're not chewing, you're like, oh, I'm eating good food, but you're not chewing. You're like, half the kale is like you've just swallowed, and so you're not being able to release the nutrients that you receive in the mouth first by chewing. So it was a really overwhelming process to like sit on the table, and there's a diagram, and the diagram shows your intestines and your colon, and she talks about, you know, the process of how it starts and where it ends up, and literally how you have bile that have been in you for years when you eat meat. And that's just no ifs or buts around it. It's not like your body's completely different from mine and that you flushed out. And you no, unless you've been getting colonics all your life, then even still, you know, you're subjected to it. So you have to do the work. You have to do the research to find out all the information you need to find out to help you make the necessary choices to live a healthier, wholesome lifestyle. After colonics, especially, you go on raw diets. Water, tea. It became very habitual for me, and making sure you have a live food every single time you eat, every single day. You know, whether it's if you have a cooked food, that's fine, but having something live along with the cooked food is essential. Sometimes people want to know about the full body detox. Oh, one thing pardon me. There's one before we talk about the detox. Yes, I fasted. That's something that you want to do all throughout your life. As we know, with all the information provided, that fasting helps to repair every aspect of your body, repair cells within the body as well. Of course, if you feel like, look, I have to do like just a green salad or a salad fast, that's fine, where you don't eat anything cooked, or I just gonna do a water fast, or I'm gonna do a herbal fast, or I'm gonna do a dry fast. Whatever you need to do to get yourself to that process, but just have it happen. If you don't want to starve yourself, so to speak, so if you feel like more of a raw food fast is preferable, then do it. Or you're just going to fast all throughout the day, and then once the sun goes down, then you're going to eat. That's fine too. But give your body a break. That's why it's called break fast, because you're fasting all that time after dinner, all the time there, and in while you're sleeping, that's a break, and then in the morning you break your fast. And when you do a fast, just consider, why do you want to do this fast? Why am I doing this fast? Why am I doing this fast? Like, make it be an intentional fast. I'm going to fast because I'm going to fast and in hopes of praying more, meditating more, to be more patient, to exercise more, to be more enlightened, whatever it is. Just have an intention when you do fast. And another question, I want to do a full body detox. How do I begin? Ideally, I say go for the organ that needs the most work, and that would be your colon, your kidneys, and your liver, because these are the systems that are the ones that remove toxins from the body. And that'll also prepare the body for removal through cleansing when you are fasting. It doesn't have to be a super harsh herbal experience. It could be something very simple as just salads, like I mentioned. Or if you feel like, look, I've been going hard for many, many years, I really need something stronger, then you can do an herbal detox, and that's not a problem. I will talk a little bit about some options. And so you want to start with the colon first, then you want to start the kidney, and then you want to start with the liver. There are a lot of products already out there that are pre-made. The CKLS product as well, colon, kidney, liver, spleen. That's I can't remember that company's name, but if you put it in a search engine, it'll pop up. I should be a distributor for them. That's something that I'll consider in the future. And then, so once you go to the colon, this is why I love the human body. So the the kidney, but you have two of them, right? They're shaped like beans. So what do you think that you could eat to support your kidneys in this process? Beans. Anything that looks like your kidney, anything that looks like your colon, anything that looks like your gallbladder, anything of that nature, those are the things that you want to consume, because those are the things that will support your body in that process. Isn't that amazing? Look at God. Look at God. So they're bean shaped, and it extracts waste from the blood, balances body fluids, and forms your urine. And it's a really simple process. Again, you either decide to do supplements or you can do food. I generally will suggest to people, especially if you're someone that's on a budget, start with the food. That's totally okay. You can do your horsetail, marshmallow root, parsley, uva ursi is a really good one. And you start with these herbs and you create a system for yourself. I'm going to do this for 3 days, every day. In the morning, then I'm going to eat a salad later in the day, and then I'm going to take my herbs again at night, and I'm going to do that for 3 days. I'm going to do that for a weekend, once a week, for 1 weekend, every month. Set yourself up. Sometimes people say, oh, I do it seasonally. That's not enough. It's not enough. Consider how much food you eat on a daily basis, and you only want to detox for at the end of a season or at the beginning of a season. It's really not enough, y'all. It's really not enough. Like, cleanse, repair, and rejuvenate is something that happens every single day. One of the other things that I really like to do that's very beneficial for detoxing is mono meals. So what I'll do in the summer is, and my friends know, anybody who knows me, or been around with me or stay with me, they know in the spring going into the summer or full blast summer, I eat watermelon. And I will eat watermelon for days and only watermelon. I'll get like 2 large watermelons and I don't share, maybe a piece, and I will consume seeded watermelon. I will take the seeds and the rind. I will either chew the seeds or I'll separate the seeds and I'll save them for planting, or I'll dry them out and eat them later. Season them and eat them later. The rind, I make a nice little sweet dessert, so to speak, where I take the rind and I either straight dry it out, or I right underneath a boil, I'll put it in hot water, get it so soft, then put it in water with ginger and clove, then put it in my dehydrator, or you can make a date sugar mixture too, and then I put it in the dehydrator and I take it out and I eat it, and it's like a nice like a fruit roll up type of texture, and it's really nice. And that, you know, watermelon has vitamin A, C, and E. Is really great for the skin, great for hydration. It's amazing for the body. And I know some people are like, well, I don't like it. And I say, try to get to like it, because it's like having a multivitamin, and it contains so much water. So throughout the summer, it will definitely keep you hydrated. So you won't have to worry about being, so underhydrated, thirsty, and not getting the nutrients that you need. I never get tired of watermelon unless it's like a really overripe watermelon. Then that's a whole different story. And the gallbladder is something that you'll hear a lot of people, they have their gallbladder removed or something of that nature, and it's hollow, and so it makes sense how you can have so many stones in there. I posted a picture a couple of days ago on my Instagram, and I know people were kind of like, yuck, the stones are basically undigested cholesterol, so you can undissolve, and basically not digest, things that have not digested properly, so it doesn't dissolve, but it's cholesterol. It comes from eating greasy and fatty foods and just junk food. It's very easy. It's like a composite, and it doesn't break down properly, and so that's how it manifests itself. So a flush is, you don't have to have surgery for this. So many people you don't have to have surgery for this, and maybe your doctor does not know. They don't get a lot of education in terms of nutrition, so it's not uncommon for them to not know this information. So don't be upset at them if they haven't told you and you had surgery. It's up to you to do the research. It's not their job. They're not superheroes. So you have to do the research. So you can use, one of my favorites is black seed and lime, or black seed, olive oil, and lime. If you use lemon's a hybrid, but if you use it, then fine, you can use that in exchange for it. Or you could do apple juice. I haven't done this one. Apple juice and fresh squeezed apple juice and black seed oil for 6 days. And you do that in the morning, and I really would suggest fasting while you do that. Either salad fast, fruit fast, but just fast while you're trying to do that flush as well. And so another question is, do you cook a lot? Yep. One time when I first started this process, my mom, I was somewhere with her, and we were at like her vacation home, and I cooked dinner, and then, pardon me, breakfast, and then after cleaning up, I was back in the kitchen preparing lunch, and she was like, "You just got out the kitchen for breakfast," and it's just like, I know. It's with this lifestyle, it's important to prep. You have to prep everything beforehand, you know, like with your beans, if you're sprouting any of your grains, they need to be soaked the night before, or you have to sprout days in advance. And it's just something that you just have to get used to. It's just part of the process. It's like gardening. If you have a garden, things just don't grow overnight. So you have to get out of feeling like everything is a quick fix. You know, it's not, you will have some things that are like that, but generally not. So being on a plant-based diet takes a lot of patience and understanding. And you will get there. You will get there. But then you'll find your meals that are really quick and you won't have a problem. But then there are meals that take a long time and you have to just be okay with it. Or you plan your meals in advance. Like some days on a Sunday, I'll make several meals and you get your Tupperware and you put things up. And then that way when you come home, you just have to warm it up. So, reading my notes, so do you cook a lot? Yes. Spend lots of time in the kitchen, not because I love to cook, because I love being well. It trumps any excuse I may have. And that's true. That's true. I do love to cook sometimes, but being that I'm really the predominant cook in the house, sometimes it can get overwhelming. I'm not going to lie to you. My children do cook, but it's like a process. It's just, you know, it's not the same, and you still have to oversee them until they get to the point where they don't need you. Well, they are at that point. For certain meals they don't need you, but it really is a process. And that is when I do try to have an excuse. I don't eat out a lot. Me loving being well really does trump any excuse I may have about not wanting to cook. Because at the end of the day, when you go somewhere and you're like, damn, I could have cooked this and it would have been way better, you know. So it's something that I think about, and it gives me peace when I do consider it. And where do I shop? The best market in town. It's not any different from me wanting to dress fly and have the best quality threads. Now I just want to have the dopest looking organic avocados. You know what I'm saying? The dopest watermelon. Where is this grown? I want it to be grown in the best soil you have. You know, so it's not any different, and it gives me great peace, and I will constantly keep saying that because that's really what it's about. I find that I am more understanding, overstanding, passionate, compassionate, and more of a lover being on this diet. I do have my times of frustration, but not food related. Not food related. You know, I'm in an area now where things aren't as accessible, so you just shift. It's no different from any other like a season. When you have a season shift, you have to shift what you eat anyway, right? If you eat for the seasons, there are different aspects of being vegan, right? You know, all vegans aren't equal, so to speak, in terms of how they eat. Every vegan eats differently. And before I move on, I'll touch on that. So you have your plant-based vegans that only may eat live foods. You have vegans that don't eat soy at all. You have vegans that are fruitarians that only consume fruits. You have vegans who don't eat gluten. You have vegans who don't eat hybrids. You have vegans who don't eat nightshades. You have vegans who don't, I said hybrids. There was one more. I feel like I'm missing something. So I'm missing something. I'll probably think about it later, and if I do, I'll put it in the comments. But they're all different types of vegan, so not everyone is the same. We all eat things that are in season. There are vegans that just like wouldn't dare eat a banana, although it's a hybrid, unless you're eating a burrow. Wouldn't dare eat a banana in the winter months, because your body will assimilate certain foods based on the season. Not everyone will believe that, but that's fine. I'm just telling you how it works for some people. Okay, do I eat out? Rarely. I don't eat out because sometimes the food isn't that great and then I feel some type of way about the money that I just spent. I have to kind of really know that I'm gonna enjoy the food, or it has to really look good, or I have to get a nice referral for the place. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not that adventurous when it comes to restaurants. If I know it's like a nice Indian restaurant, I'm more inclined to do that, Jamaican or Mediterranean. So if I am gonna eat out, those would be the areas that the type of restaurants that I would eat at that I know of so far. Maybe Mexican. I'm not that adventurous. I'm not gonna lie to you because of the experience that I have. But once I get to know a place and I enjoy the food, then maybe, but not really. I don't like to circulate my money on food. I'd like to circulate it on other areas. So what do you eat? I eat everything. That's not true. But I eat a lot of food. So what I do is I'll take something that I'm used to eating and then just make it plant-based and vegan. That's really it. So, but the question for you would be, what kind of vegan? Just like I mentioned, do you want to be a raw vegan? You want to be a fruitarian? Will you eat cooked foods? Will you eat foods that are in season? Will you eat hybrids? Will you food combine? That's a big one. A lot of people don't focus on food combining. Will you eat gluten? These are the main questions that you have to ask yourself before you ask me what you could eat. I need to kind of know those things, and you need to research what they are to determine where you're going to be in that spectrum, or whether you're going to like do it all, and it's okay to switch. Like right now I'm mostly Dr. Sebi based, but up until recently I'm like, I kind of want this, and I'm not going to beat myself up for having it, so as long as you get to a percentage that you feel comfortable with and then you stay there, that's totally fine. So I do have a book coming out, and I'm not dragging my feet, but it's a whole process. And once the book is out, I'm going to do a video about publishing your own book and the trials and tribulations that I've gone through. And so you can look out for them when you decide to publish your own book. But the book will provide a blueprint for a healthier lifestyle for you. You'll be able to understand the different aspects of vegan lifestyle, and these questions will be easy to answer. You'll have great recipes, mostly hybrid free, all hybrid free recipes. The next book will have all different types of recipes that you can indulge in, but this book will not, for a lot of different reasons. And those are really the main questions that people have asked me. There are some other things that I will, the next video, I'll talk about different recipes, about detox and cleansing, and that should be helpful for everyone. But other than that, that is it. I hope this was helpful and that you will have a happy wellness day or night. All right, peace and love.